es la voz de LA. It's like una galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell a hater shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goles during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans, wherever you may be out there in the world. And man, if there's anybody deserving of some love right now, it is LA Galaxy fans, because it's time for some more group therapy, G's faithful, as we invite you to another edition of Sad Fool Hours. Now, really a weekly series here on this podcast, because the Galaxy has still not won this season. This time, their latest misadventure, their latest loss comes to Sporting Kansas City on the road, a 1-0 defeat on Sunday, May 4th. That is equal parts inexplicable, frustrating, and laughter-inducing in its ridiculousness. And understand laughter, because if not, we'd be crying. As has been the story of the season, the Galaxy created plenty of chances, but were undone by one self-inflicted mistake, literally gifting SKC 3 points without taking a shot, but thrusting SKC into the history books in the process. We look at how history was achieved with Dave Orona of LA is Our House, our special guest of the evening, who will be here to talk about what he sees as LA's problem this year, why the Galaxy can't put away its chances, if luck is fully against the Galaxy, and who's to blame for the malaise. Plus, we bid fond birthday wishes to a Galaxy legend. All that and more coming up tonight on La Cuna Galaxiana. But before we go any further, let me introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. You can find my written work at Extra Time Talk and the Sporting Tribune. And just like the tag says here on the screen, that's where you can find me online. Tenemos a mi compatriota aquí, el hermano aquí, el co-host, el Cosmopolitan One, el papá de Natita, Ananda Kirana. ¿Cómo te sientes, papá? And let's get your one word while we're at it, huh?
Just go right to it, huh, papá? Oof. I was thinking about this morning, man. Like, oof could have been my one word, I guess, huh? But I was thinking about this morning, like, tantas expresiones, tantas palabras, ¿qué digo? I guess the only thing that comes to mind, man, and I may have, like, I don't know if I said this word exactly, but you could probably, because we watched this game together, inexplicable, man. Inexplicable. Like, yeah. I cannot explain the 90 plus minutes that I watched. Like, I couldn't explain to you what was going on in that pitch. Like, if you look at this game on paper, it painted another narrative. The chances that we were getting, the just dumb luck that we were getting on the defensive side of the game, just refereeing decisions, literally everything, like everything was inexplicable, inexplicable. And that's my one word, man. That's just like, I can't explain. I will try to dissect what's going on with the Galaxy this season on the show, of course, with Dave and you. But in terms of the 90 minutes that I just saw, I can't explain to you what I saw, but that was just like you said in the top of the show, sometimes you just have to like laugh about it, because otherwise we're going to cry about it, right?
Reír por no llorar. Yeah, well,
yeah.
Funny you said inexplicable. I mean, and I'm not the only one. You're not the only one who kind of feels that way. I mean, one of my colleagues, Scott French, literally, and mind, we're a family show, so I'm not going to repeat the exact phrase, but he asked Greg, like, well, are you kind of bemused or like, frustrated about the what the effery of it all?
Yeah, what the duckery? Yeah.
Yeah, and Greg was pretty much like, yeah, it is pretty much what the effery of it all right now. Because yeah, and anything and everything that could be going wrong in Galaxylandia is going wrong, and it's kind of like they need that little limpia with the el huevo and everything, man. There needs to be something.
They need something, bro.
Yeah, well, last year there was
Exorcism.
Suerte de Campeón, and this year there is none of that to be found. But yeah, we're gonna get into everything a little bit later. But yeah, that's my one that's my one phrase reaction is what the effery of it all. So yeah, thank you guys all for being here. We want to say hola hola to Big Heck and his IEGs out there. Adam, what's up, man? Thank you so much for coming back. Man, Steve, no mid, no defense. I want to agree with you, but the defense actually did not allow a shot on goal. So I mean, what do you do? I mean, anyway, we'll get into that. So guys, keep subbing to the show. Go ahead and let some folks know, folks you love, folks you really want to show that you care about. Go ahead and tell them about this pod. If you have love in your heart, let it out and tell them about this pod. Hit subscribe,
Right.
and that's
Mr.
my
Mr.
southern
McConaughey.
accent.
Yeah,
that's
I was like, all
my
right, Mr.
southern accent.
McConaughey. Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, we're on the road to 600. Go ahead and hit sub. Tell everybody, and if you really want to get something off your chest, if you have a question, go ahead and hit that super chat. We're on the hunt for 6, signifying those 6 MLS Cup championships. Might be a while till number 7 based on current evidence. So you know, we're going for 6, and of course, you know, the current problems as is are many, but if you want a more in-depth look on what exactly is wrong, I did an interview with Michele Giannone, MLS analyst and Apple TV analyst. He really insightful guy. You will like what he has to say about this team and his insight. And then of course we have El Profe Alex Ruiz and your co-host Anandita Kirana with Los Galácticos episode 5, which is all about the midfield and what's going on with that midfield. But anyway, let's go ahead and get some news in, Ananda, so we can go ahead and get to our special guest of the evening.
But right before we get to that, because you did all the pleasantries, of course, for my end, a little housekeeping before we get going here. So, of course, you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana, as it says on the screen there. You can always follow us on all your socials at La Cuna Galaxiana. And I guess, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches, and bienvenidos a otro capítulo de Sad Foo Hours / Group Therapy, episode 11.
Hey, my guy Raul Juice said flabbergasted. Yeah, super valid. The one and only said bewildered. Yes.
You guys are really pulling out these words from the dictionary. I love it.
Yes,
love it.
Hey, all my homies scored a perfect. What is it? 700, 800 on the SATs on the English part. That's right. Alex, you said sad boys for life. You're not wrong. But at this point, like we said, it's kind of like I'm more. I told Ananda there's a couple moments before we went live. I'm kind of nihilist about it all now. It's like, you know, there's only so many headlines you can write that say, you know, Galaxy drop another one. So anyway, yeah, but yes, generally sad boys for life, sad full hours, part
11.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Anyway, on to other things, on to teams that are actually achieving things on the pitch, like the Vancouver Whitecaps and Cruz Azul, who are going to be playing in the Champions Cup final this year. Vancouver is anybody following Vancouver is not going to be surprised. We're playing some wonderful ball, and Cruz Azul didn't pull a Cruz Azul, and they actually beat Tigres to get into the final. They beat them 1-0 in the second leg and take the tie 2-1 on aggregate. Now the final is on June 1st at 6 p.m. Ananda, who do you have in this one?
I mean, I got to pull for the MLS team, right? Got to pull for Vancouver. I mean, they are the red hot team. Hopefully Cruz Azul, like you said, pulls the actual Cruz Azul in the final. But Vancouver, man, that's a serious team. Your boy Pedro Vite already got some early MVP shots, Papa. He's looking good.
He is looking fantastic. Nick R says dumbfounded. I like these one words. Keep them coming, y'all. Papa says exacerbated. Man,
I can't wait to ask for Dave's because he's probably looking up his Merriam's thesaurus right now, looking at all these synonyms. Like, what word can I pull out? So, anyways,
look,
we'll
I learned how to read just for this show because
exactly.
I knew the homies were gonna pull out these one words.
Exactly.
So Christmas says vamos mi maquinita. Yeah, I don't have a dog in the fight. But you know what? I just want to see a good game of soccer, and Vancouver's playing some pretty ball right now. Ananda, do you want to read?
Why don't you read it?
You want to read that last comment
pull
here?
it up. I will pull it up, and all I gotta say is talk to me on Thursday. Let's see.
It says, "Daddy,
please don't tell me you're a PSG fan. Please do not tell me you're a PSG fan. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, I don't think anybody's legitimately a PSG fan, but you know, it's always like I don't like that team that PSG is playing.
There are Arsenal haters. That's okay. That's all right. We get a lot of hate.
Well, let's go ahead and get back into some news before we get to our
deep
guest
in the bands.
Yeah, we are deep in the bands, and it is that kind of show because again, we gotta
laugh at something, right? Yeah,
exactly. So back to the news here, and I'm gonna need you to rewind these slides here for 1 second because we do have a departure here on the Galaxy. Asel Senye, he leaves for USL Championship side Phoenix Rising through November 30th, 2025. This one was announced last Friday. The Galaxy has a right to recall Senye from his loan before November 30th. The 22-year-old has recorded 5 goals in 79 appearances across all competitions with the second team. The defender hopefully is going off to get some valuable experience. And the team he is leaving, VCFC, just lost 2-1 at home to Tacoma Defiance. Harbor Miller opened the scoring early with Yu Sukunome scoring an unanswered brace to get all 3 points for VCFC after 8 games played. One of 4 teams tied for first place on 15 points. They now have an 8-5-3 record. They play LAFC 2 in El Traficito next on Friday, May 9th at the Willy Roll at 7 p.m. And now, Ananda, are you ready?
Dale, vamos.
All righty, man. I feel like we should have like some entrance music, like like some, like in the WWE, like when the
hype music. I should have asked Dave. What does he want for hype music?
Yeah,
anyways, we gotta get hype.
That's actually a good question. Like if he was on the Dodgers, like what would be his walk up music? But anyway, please welcome to the show a guest whose participation inexplicable. There's that word again. Whose participation on the show is long overdue. Inexplicably, we have no idea why. He is the co-host of LA is Our House podcast, and Megan is one of the original wingmen and 1/4 of our foot golf team. Welcome to the show, Dave Orona. Dave, thank you so much for being back, being here, and welcome. And first, let's get your one word.
Oh, my one word. I was ready to do my my walk-in music. It's just a sound effect that, it's just that sound effect that was wah, 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 like that's exactly how I would describe this season and my best like walk up music probably. But my one word is mollywopped. I think the Galaxy has been mollywopped this year. It's the best way to describe it, man. First of all, thank you guys so much for inviting me here. It's really nice in here. I like this one. We don't get to do video on our show just because of the nature of the way we do it. But it's very, very telling right now that I need a fill light because you guys look beautiful. I look bathed in backlight.
No, man, you are el galán that you always are when we see you. And like I mentioned, everybody, we have no idea why this took so long. Dave frequently sees us outside of Galaxy Landia, and I mean we know his family. Shout out to his lady wife and the children's. I mean,
and the pups.
Yeah, and the pups and the family's great. So like, I was just thinking to myself today, like, like, why hasn't this happened before?
Because we had to bring him. We had to bring him at the right time. You know, we had to pick the perfect time.
I think you guys. I think that you know, before you brought in somebody that somebody like us from our Rinky Dink podcast, Ellie is our house, to discredit and like, you know, make you guys look bad. You guys had to establish yourselves as a good podcast, which you guys have done an amazing job with.
We're just trying not to get canceled over here, man. Oh,
hey, man, take it from me. I'm pretty sure we got canceled at some point, and then you know, probably why we haven't been on Corner of the Galaxy or on this show or on some of the other higher ranking podcasts. I think you know, I put you guys up near the top. You guys always bring it.
Hey, thanks,
good energy,
man.
and good information.
And I love that T-shirt. I know exactly when that moment is. Let's see if Ananda knows when this is.
Oh, that might be too far in the history books for me. That's interesting.
No. It's not. It is during your era. I will give you a hint. Zlats.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the big Z moment, because I'm trying to look at his ponytail right now.
Well, it's the moment where he pushes Latif Blessing off of him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What? But ML. Okay. I was trying to like work out. I was trying to work out what that silhouette is, man.
All right. Well. Before we go any further.
Oh, hold on. I think Dave, you might be on either mute or can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, we'll work on your audio.
Yep. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
No audio. But we will work on that. So anyway, everyone that's here, thank you guys so much for being in chat. We do appreciate it. We will check back here with Dave in a second to see if that audio is working. But before we do, we want to remind you to go ahead and subscribe to this pod, because even though the Galaxy are losing, you can be winning at life by subscribing to this podcast. So go ahead and hit that like, go ahead and hit that sub button. Big Dave, holler at me. Are you there? It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like. Hey, anyway, Ananda, you mentioned we watched this game together. We were definitely at times when we were watching this game just laughing. I mean, we are not joking about this, guys. We were watching this game and just laughing about some of the things that we were watching, because it just seems that I mean, what's that old saying? If you can't beat them, join them. I mean, you just got to laugh at this point. There's really nothing that's going right for this Galaxy team. And so, I mean, rather than get upset, you just try to go ahead and roll with the punches. I mean, it's gotten to the point where, you know, the Galaxy are losing to teams and these teams aren't even out here taking shots on goal or a shot at all, really. You would think that because SKC had, you know, players like Shalawi and like Dayon, that they would have been a little bit more involved in the offense there on the offensive side there, but no, not really. So I think, Ananda, that Dave really just was like, oh man, F these guys, I'm out of here. So like I'm having a terrible time. I'm out. You know, he did give us a couple of compliments and then he got out of here. But anyway, we'll try to go ahead and get him on here again as soon as.
Let me try again. Oh, I just saw him.
Are we showing flashes? Are we showing flashes of life? I mean, he is, but the Galaxy are not.
So our technical producer, Big Eddie Nag says, Dave, did you try to turn it off and turn it back on already?
Yeah, did
I
Sacacha
love it.
Cartucho and did you blow into it?
This is like a microcosm of the LA Galaxy season. You know, things you try to make it perfect, and we get inside the box and all that good stuff, and we fluff our lines. Let's try to get him back on here. Dave, I can hear you.
I'm back. I made it.
You are back.
Okay,
oh,
you made it.
He
So-
is back.
So all the insightful stuff that I said earlier, I meant it 100%.
And we heard it
Oh,
all.
he was on mute.
And it was
yeah.
it was brilliant. I mean, I based on that, I really think you should be going
It was
for
like a whisper.
that doctorate.
That's all the Galaxy have to do to fix their problems. I mean, I laid it out. It's very clear.
And you also solved world peace as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you guys should go ahead and watch that back and soak up those pearls of wisdom. Dave, now that you're back, let's get into Galaxy Landia stuff. The Galaxy obviously, can't get anything going. They're making history for the wrong reasons. Did you see this coming at all? I mean, what were your expectations for this team at the start of the year?
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be great. It wasn't going to be the same as 2024, but for them to have, again, to bring it back, for them to have been mollywopped this hard on just everything, it feels like they kind of made the wrong moves in the offseason. I really do think that, letting go of Mark Delgado really hurt them. I think that we would have survived without Gaston Brugman, but that Mark Delgado one, I think, is the one that really, really just sort of broke open that cursed box, because it really does seem like they opened like the coffin and took the amulet out of the eyeball of the skeleton, right? They got to do something to kind of shake that off of them. It's been a huge surprise, and it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah. Dave, really quick, yes or no question. Would you have rather gotten rid of Diego Fagundes versus Mark Delgado?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a decision we had to make ultimately. Yeah.
That was a very quick yes as well. Yeah. All right. Well, Galaxy come out first game of the season, lose to San Diego. People were surprised that happened, us included. I mean, we had Tony Sanchez from San Diego Football, and he was, saying, he didn't give San Diego a lot of chances in that one, but Galaxy go out there and lose 2-0. They to date have yet not won. So at what point though did you say, hey, we have a real problem here? Like, it's not just like they weren't on their game in the first match of the season. When did you say, hey, Houston, tenemos problema?
Yeah, I'd probably say right around the third game at home. That's when it really started to take shape, and I, again, every week I go to the stadium or I watch on TV, hoping that this is going to be the game that turns it around. And I think finally this week they kind of broke me. I feel like going into this Kansas City game, I knew they wouldn't win this game.
Yeah, it's funny that you said they broke you, because I was mentioning to Ananda right before we started that I was a nihilist about it all now. Like, it's gotten to the point where it's funny, because there's emo kids and then there's Galaxy fans, and it's like there's like the same thing. I mean, like, My Chemical Romance could just as easily be singing about that sadness, and then they could be singing about the Galaxy losing again. So anyway, man, that's pretty much where I'm at as well. It's back to 2023 for me, where all my written work was pretty much headlines of Galaxy drop another one, Galaxy lose again, Galaxy own goal this, own goal that, and it's kind of sad. But
No, I was gonna say, to bring it back to Dave too. I was gonna say, because I tweeted about that, and I had just a quick conversation with over X with Josh about this, which is this is an eerie feeling to 2023. I mean, Dave, boycott aside and everything, is that from you in the stands and going every weekend? Is that your feeling? Does it feel even more damning given that there's no boycott to fall back on or no excuse?
I think
a boycott.
Yeah, I think this is worse than 2023. I think this is worse than 2017. Actually, 2017 historically bad year, the worst in Galaxy history, and that was a team comprised of mostly USL Plus players, and this is a team comprised of players that should be more than MLS quality. I mean, these guys, even though, yeah, they were a little gutted from, with all the salary cap issues that they had going into the offseason, but this is still a team that on paper should be able to compete or should have been able to win some games. I mean, this is looking like Chivas USA, numbers right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good. If you had to, and we'll get into the blame or who could potentially be to blame of it all in a little bit. But what to you, without going into those dissertations on like just like philosophies and everything like that. But like what to you is the problem at the moment?
I think that they just don't have their heartbeat in the locker room right now. That's it. I think that Riqui, I went on record toward the end of last year, saying that Riqui Puig being in the conversation for being MVP, I wasn't even 100% sure that Riqui was the MVP of the team. I thought it was Gabriel Peck. I was wrong. I was dead wrong, because without Riqui, the stuff that we're missing, it's not just the things that are happening on the field that we're missing that Riqui provides. I think that the locker room, just that desire, the passion that comes with the type of personality he is, that's what the Galaxy is missing right now.
A little bit of that swagger, right? Yeah, man. It's funny because it's Thad Bell, who we had on the show last time. He was talking about some intangibles when it comes to sports, right? And Riqui has an intangible of kind of, bringing everybody up a little bit around him, not just their game, but kind of like that belief and that confidence as well. When he steps on the pitch, it's like, it literally is like, hey, he's our best player. So when he steps on the pitch, it obviously gives us a fighting chance. So, we'll get back into Galaxy stuff here in the moment, but let's talk about you for a sec here, Dave. Let's get to know you a little bit more. So anyway, Eleazar House has been around for a while. How did everything start? And give us the bio real quick.
Yeah. So the three of us that host, my cousin Lewis, my best friend Bobby, we have been Galaxy fans since the very beginning, and going through all the different eras of the team, we always would chat about what was going on with the team, what we thought, all over, And one day when we were hanging out in the backyard and throwing back some beers and stuff and around the fire pit, we were doing what we always do and just arguing about our different opinions, and one of us offhandedly said, "Oh, we should record this and just make it a podcast." And then we started hitting each other up in the text chat. We're like, "Hey, were we serious about that? Is that a thing we should do?" So I think we started for the 2015 or 2016 All-Star game. That's when we first started when we opened our then Twitter account, now X. It's hard for me to call it that. And we just went from there. We recorded our first episode, I think, toward the end of that season. And we really were like MLS nerds, or like, what are they called now? Sickos. Before MLS Sickos was a thing. We just enjoyed watching MLS. Like, we each had our different teams that we followed in the different leagues across Europe, and we just didn't have that full-on passion for it the way that we did for the Galaxy and for MLS. So, we just kind of started from there. And then I think it was probably about 2 years later, the late Grant Wall tweeted something about, he was interested in interviewing somebody that made money betting on MLS. And Lewis had this idea of making a mock betting game where we go through and we pick every single game, win, lose, draw, and we make a bet on it. So we've been playing that game for 6-7 years, I think. I am
That's
the
balls and beers, right?
Balls and beers. Let's see. That right there is my paleta quemada, which is the trophy for the worst finish in balls and beers. I am the 6-time, just like the Galaxy, holder of the paleta quemada. So
you're making history too. Ooh.
Indeed. So we have our prediction game, balls and beers, which forces us to kind of be MLS sickos, and then we have our regular podcasts. Ellie is our house. So it's we've been having a lot of fun doing it. It's it's a long challenge. We've always been on the outside. We never really pushed really hard for press passes because we kind of wanted to keep it a little after dark, a little salty because we're feeling a certain it's spicy for sure. If we were feeling a certain way about something, we wanted we didn't want any kind of grief from anybody in the communications department telling us, hey, maybe don't say those words.
well, that's why Ananda's my my anger translator, so
I mean, you can't read or write, so I'm your translator in general, but
exactly. Watch, I keep telling you, one day when I learn, man, it's over for y'all. Dave, let's talk about you're an MLS sicko. Elias, our house was started around 2015, 2016. I mean, that's quite a bit. You called yourself a Galaxy fan from the very, very start, but how did that happen? How did that love come around? We have something on the show called I Used to Love Her. Where is your come to Jesus moment? How did you fall in love with La Toxica?
I went to a game at the Rose Bowl. It had to be, I had been to a couple games in like 96, 97, but it wasn't until 98 when I got my driver's license and I started driving I just aged myself. I started driving me and my friends to the games. We would go to the games. We would all pile into my grandfather's old VW bus and hit up games.
Good
and I think
time.
it was, yeah, man, I miss that thing so much.
And back in the day, we got our license at 16 too. So it's like, yeah, those are the days.
And we'd pile into the bus. We'd go and we'd tailgate. We kick the ball around in the grass at the Rose Bowl. And I think it was the Galaxians probably. That one day we just kind of ran down and sat with the Galaxians, and I had the time of my life. And I think that's when it really like solidified me as like, oh, I like coming to these games. So I would go more often, but it wasn't until the 2002 World Cup where I like completely fell head over heels over this damn game. This game that has taken me to so many highs and so many lows. I think it was just like having that national pride. Being a fan of the US MNT and then having them have such a good run that year and then having Kobe Jones on the team and then later Landon Donovan. My son is actually named after Landon Donovan. Or my oldest is named after Landon Donovan. And I like to tease my youngest son that he's named after Andrew Shue.
Yes, LA Galaxy legend Andrew Shue. 2002 was a good year to start watching the Galaxy for sure. And Partermas is back from Anchorage, Alaska. Welcome back home, man. I don't even know how cold it would be right now. Probably as cold as the Galaxy's record. But anyway, so that's the I Used to Love Her moment with Dave. We played something as well on the show. Something called word association, and this is going to be an interesting one because I realized today that this game is entirely based on how this team is doing in the moment. Because if I were to ask, if I had asked you these names, I don't know, like 6 months ago, you probably would have had a completely different answer to some of them at the very least. Mind, you get one hard out. You can say pass on any single one of these but you only get one. So choose carefully here. All right. So the way it works is I give you a name, and you tell me the first thing that pops into your head. And we go with Landon Donovan first.
Legend.
LD. Then we go with Zlatan.
Cocky.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
that's why he be selling those avocados now, Ananda. Well, let's go ahead and go with Will Kuntz next.
Ooh, this one's tough. Okay, hold on.
You're
let me think.
conflicted, aren't you?
I'm not. I'm trying to find the right positive thing to say about Will Kuntz. Let's just say smart. I'm just gonna go with smart.
Yeah. I mean, I've said
He's
it
smart,
a bunch of
dude.
times on the spot. Brilliant. Let's go with Riqui Puig.
Talisman.
Yep.
Let
Agreed.
us go with Greg Vanney, circa 2024.
I think this is going to be the same across his entire career for me, or entire Galaxy tenure. Frustrating.
So 2024 frustrating. Greg Vanney 2025 frustrating.
Yeah. Also, in different ways, but yeah.
Let's finish it out. Hopefully, on a good note. Unless there's something here that I don't know. Joe Tutino.
Oh my gosh, my favorite. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the favorite.
Favorite indeed. Let's wrap up here. Get to know Dave time with your Galaxy 5 aside. If you could pick an all-time great Galaxy 5 aside team, who would it be?
Jaime Pinedo in the back.
Gotcha.
AJ and Omar. Donovan. Who's my striker? Gosh.
Who could it be?
It's not Zlatan. God, remember that amazing year Edson Buttle had?
Ooh, yeah. Definitely do.
Yeah.
That earned him the World Cup spot.
Yeah, everything that dude touched was golden that year. Gosh, I want to give
that goal he scored on Seattle.
Oh my God, dude, just there's so many. Like, I also think that like Giassi's art is like it's all
greatest.
A lot of these guys now. It seems like some of the Star Wars prequels, you've given them a lot of time and sort of recalibrated how you view them, and you go, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But you still didn't give us a striker.
No, I think I'm going to go that Edson Buttle that 1 year that he went off for everything. Was it 2011?
That's a deep cut.
He was a beast that year. Edson Buttle actually had 3 stints with the Galaxy. I didn't know that. I was reading up on him the other day, and I was like, really? 3 different stints with the Galaxy? I'm not mad at it. Anyway, so that's Dave's Galaxy 5 aside team. Not a bad little team right there. Ananda, 2 of your fellow alumnus there at Maryland, AJ and Omar. Shout out to them and their families. Well, guys, unfortunately, it is now time to get into this match proper and talk about what the effery of it all, because it's really the only way to look at this match. Continuing the winless start to the year, the Galaxy fell 1-0 on the road. Well, to themselves, really, but for the sake of argument, and let's say it was Sporting Kansas City in front of almost 18,000 fans on Sunday night, which was Star Wars night at Children's Mercy Park as well. So if you were watching this match, you were watching a bunch of people wearing their Star Wars gear in the stands. Despite dominating the match and creating a host of chances, somehow the Galaxy could not get a goal. They could not overcome as well a Maya Yoshida own goal, a stroke of what I'm calling bad luck, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. But an own goal and sloppy finishing consigned them to another defeat. They had an expected goals total of 1.93, and like we've mentioned a couple times, No shots on goal or otherwise for Sporting Kansas City. It marks the first time in MLS history that a team has lost a match without allowing a single shot in the match. It snaps the Galaxy's 5-game unbeaten run against Sporting Kansas City dating back to 2022. Just to give you an idea of the dominance the Galaxy displayed against the Sporting Kansas City team, they completed 640 passes compared to Sporting Kansas 221. They outpossessed SKC 64-36. And now with the loss, the Galaxy still hold an advantage. But in road play, they have a 10-19-9 record. In this match, John McCarthy makes his 50th career appearance and 50th career start for the Galaxy in all competitions. Guys, let's look at this lineup. Greg, from the outset, goes and puts out Marco Royce and Diego Fagundes there as basically dual 10s right here. What did you think of this attacking minded lineup, Dave? Any concerns, or were you kind of impressed that Greg was kind of going for it?
Nope.
You there with this? Oh, did we lose him again?
I think we lost him again.
Oh no, Dave, did we lose you? Yes, I
think we did.
I think we lost him again. Well, Ananda,
Gabriel.
Same question for you. We were watching this together, but surprisingly, maybe it was the anticipation of it all or just the nervousness of it all. We didn't really comment too much on this lineup. I mean, I know I have my thoughts on it, but what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. So we were talking about Marco Royce. I think that was the big selection. The big selection point, right? And it was interesting. I thought that Greg, as soon as we saw the starting lineup, one of the things I pointed out to you was, hey, it looks like Greg's going pretty attacking. Like, I'm liking it, right? Diego Fagundes, Marco Royce, pushing all his chips on the table. I mean, basically saying that Sporting Kansas City is not a good defensive team. Let's try to take advantage of that. And of course, hit them in the attack. I mean, that's where they're vulnerable, right? At least statistically, from what we've seen this season. We heard Thad talk about it in the preview. Like, they're not a good defensive team. That's been their Achilles heel. That's his one gripe. You asked him specifically, what is his one gripe? That was it, right? So yeah, man, that to me was the big selection point. Other than that, again, the other thing that we might have thought about was Julian Aude, who he did bring off the substitutes bench in the 73rd or so minute. Again, other than that, though, like, you look at this team, Rob, on paper, and you say this is the closest thing to a strongest starting 11 that we've had, because we finally have most of our players with a clean bill of health, other than Riqui Puig, right? So this is the closest thing that we've had to the MLS Cup final, of course, barring the players that have departed, whether it's through a sale or, well, in Ricky's case, through injury, right?
Dave is back now. So let me go ahead and ask you, Dave, with this attacking-minded lineup, a lot of focus was and a lot of pressure was placed on Edwin Cerrillo. What do you think of his performance in this one?
I think that Edwin Cerrillo is doing a lot of work, and he doesn't have a lot of support. I think that he was best utilized as sort of the second point, the second pivot in that midfield, and having everything put on him right now is just too much. We're not getting what we need out of him, and we're not putting him in a position to succeed.
So I had major concerns about him going into this match because he was going to be playing as the lone six, and he had been, getting a little bit of support with Parente and Tucker Lepoli, who would play alongside him. But all things considered, I think he actually played wonderfully. Galaxy start this match. They kind of start, for me, a little bit nervous. Neither team really gets anything going, except Calamity strikes for the Galaxy in the 13th minute off a nothing cross from Shallowy Maya Yoshida gets wrong-footed and he turns it into his own net for the 1-0. And after that, it was basically the Galaxy just dictating the match and going for SKC's goal. They had a couple of different chances in the first half. They couldn't get anything going goal-wise, but neither could SKC. It was pretty evident that the Galaxy was controlling this match, Dave. So they go into halftime down 1-0, but again, they're controlling this match and they're making chances. So what are you thinking at halftime? Ananda, this one goes out to you too, but let's start with Dave. What are you guys thinking at halftime?
For me at halftime, I think that they were probably at a point where, the Galaxy was dictating the game. They had a lot of chances, but it was really evident that nobody really wanted to make that final movement at the goal. It was a little bit of, there's so much frustration to get into here. Like the way that Joseph Painstil keeps trying to get a call. This time he got a yellow card for simulation. A little harsh, but he's been trying to get that call all year and he hasn't got it. Gabriel Peck just taking on way too much on his shoulders, not having anybody else really looking to take onto it. And then Marco Royce just sort of giving us like 75% of effort to me. So going into halftime, I felt all of that like really piling on, and it didn't feel like we're going to get much more than that coming into the second half. And credit to Kansas City, they knew what they needed to do to win, to get the game. And they had I don't think they really like put any effort into going forward. They were just kind of like content to do what they did.
It's like, hey, they already did it for us. Let's just chill. And it worked. But now the Galaxy drop another match in which they could have, done. They should have won. I mean, they really just dominated this entire match. I mean, Ananda will give you some stats here in a little bit that'll support that. They had chances in the second half as well. It was not to be. So they dropped this one, and now they are one of only two teams in MLS history that have gone winless in their first 11 matches. That is a total of 4 now. With it's the 2007 RSL, 2019 Rapids, and this year's Galaxy and Montreal. Montreal. Yeah, I mean, well, it would have been here or there. So, so I mean. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, poor Jalen for sure. Per Corner of the Galaxy, shout out Josh, Podfather. 10 of 11 games this year where the Galaxy have allowed the first goal. They've only led. This one is absolutely nuts. The Galaxy have only led for 62 minutes this year.
Yeah. I want to touch on that real quick.
Let that sink in. 62 minutes all year.
So I don't know if he's still in the chat, but I do want to. This is a really interesting point, and the way they sort of talked about this, which is, I know Eddie's in the chat right now, and I was listening to you guys yesterday, and he made a really interesting observation, Rob, which is, it's like kind of one of those things where, I mean, we've all played, sports on some sort of level, right? Whether it's recreational or whatnot, but it's like when you have that stench and that muscle memory of either winning or losing, it's hard to go the other way. Like, so right now, like, we are so used to losing that it's like we don't remember how to win anymore. It's like last year felt like 10 years ago, right? It feels like a distant memory, and it's that muscle memory that we just,
it was all a dream.
This team just doesn't know how to win anymore. And I think we'll talk about sort of the symptoms and stuff later, but that's a huge issue, man. It's like this team forgot how to win, and the stench of losing is just reeking in that locker room. And that's when leaders need to step up, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the vocal leaders, the locker room leaders. We'll crap on the guy, or some people will crap on the guy, but you had a leader a couple of years ago when things were going bad, and Sasha Kleshins, like those types of people in the locker room, those voices are really important, man. And I think it's missing. Something is missing around this team this year. Dave, you're shaking your head there.
Yeah. I think, like I was saying earlier about letting go to Mark Delgado, I think he was just pretty evident. He was one of those guys. I think not having Riqui Puig in the locker room while he's rehabbing is hurting him. And yeah, you're right in that the teams forget how to win, and they can't get that stench off of them. I know I've said, like Major League, somebody drank all of Jobu's rum. I really do think
Mr. Jobu, man.
It's kind of mind-boggling to me that over the course of the last 10 years, what did we say about the Galaxy and the state of the organization? They sat on their accomplishments and they expected, to just come out and win because of the name of the crest on the shirt. And it took them a long, hard road to get back to, took them a long, hard road to get it back to winning ways. We were humbled as fans. We were humbled as an organization. And 24 came around and you go, great. Oh my God, they fixed everything. The front office, did what it did and it righted the ship. And Will Kuntz came in and really set them on a good path. And now the culture of winning is back. And then bam, we did one, and then we're back to that same sort of entitlement culture. At least I think that was the start.
Oh, we lost him again.
I don't know what happened, man.
Yeah, everything was going so well.
Everything was going so well, Dave. We lost you again. Oh,
well,
on. Man, he was going off on a good one too.
And he's on a cool one.
Yeah, he's on a good one.
He's on a cool one right now, but it sucks that we lost him because he was on a good one. But Ananda, I'm actually gonna push back a little bit, man. Because
we'll get him back.
I'm gonna push back a little bit because you said that this team needs leaders like Sasha to step up and stuff like that.
I said that. Well, I said I brought up the Sasha thing.
Right. I said yourself, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but Dave brought up, Mark, who I know for a fact through Greg and him even saying that he wasn't really that vocal type person in the locker room. He was more of like
by example.
Quiet.
Yeah,
exactly. So Mark wasn't really like a loud person in the locker room. And I would argue that you have that kind of authority figure, that person that's going to speak on things in Maya Yoshida, right? Maya, we've spoken about it on the show. I mean, he's a consummate gentleman. I mean, he may not have, English may not be his first language, but I feel like he is adept enough to communicate what he needs to this group. So I don't know. I like I said, I don't think it's the fact that there's no leaders in that dressing room. I mean, like I said, my Yoshida is just the example. And saying all that, unfortunately, my Yoshida got the own goal against him. Raji says, "Man, Dave was on a roll too." He was. Dave, are you back? Can you recreate some of the magic that they had? I don't think he's back yet, but
yeah, Ananda, I don't hear his mic. Try to come back on, Dave. Yeah.
there was, Dave was not the only one that was on a roll. Was on a sick one, just like that lad's shirt said at the CVI.
Oh yeah, on a sick. I love it.
On a sick
that was
one.
Awesome. Yeah.
He was great. He wasn't the only one though, and neither was Dave. Because I was on the Galaxy Reddit earlier, and there was a very disgruntled fan, and this gentleman is very much in the Vanney out camp, and I haven't checked the math on this, mind, so take this with a grain of salt. But he says, in the 5 years under Vanney, the defense has not improved or been consistent, allowing a total of 243 goals over 4.33 seasons. That breaks down to 147 games and an average of 1.65 goals against over that span. Under Greg Vanney, the Galaxy are 54, 54, and 39. So just as many wins as just as many losses. And, we were talking a couple shows ago on whether, it's fair that Greg is on the hot seat or not. I'm not going to be the one to say that it is or it's not fair. I'm just going to go ahead and point to what the Galaxy has done in the past as an organization, which is fire coaches for a lot less. In 2005, Steve Sampson, guys remember him? That's all the way back then. In 2005, Steve Sampson coached the Galaxy to an MLS Cup and a U.S. Open Cup. But just the next year, in 2006, he was fired after 11 games, after a 6-game losing streak. He was fired at 2-8-1, Ananda. So, there's definitely a lot of leeway that again, I'm not advocating for anything here nor there, but there's definitely a we're gonna get into this in a sec, but there's definitely a lot of people saying like what's going on, like where's the blame lie. And
yeah, well, it's not only that too. I think that's this is a super maybe it's not for this pod, or maybe we'll probably bring it up in the right section because I do want to get Dave's thoughts on this, but like I think we have him back though. Dave, are you back with us?
Yeah, looks like it. I ran in to get my laptop, so
no, all good. No, but one of the things, Rob, and just talking about all of this, which is interesting, is like this is kind of going to be a watershed moment for us. So this is an inflection point for us because you think about it. Greg's on his last year of his deal. We have this start. We have the summer transfer window coming up. So like, do you put Greg in a position now to make some of those calls or to make suggestions or part of the recommendation for people you want to bring in the summer? Or do you just do a complete clean cutover, right? Like you don't bring Greg back and you sign players for a different potential manager. I mean, these I think these have all long-term implications that we got to probably another conversation for another day, depending on how May goes. But man, like there's a lot of implications that are going to happen like for the season. I mean, there's a few guys on contract years as well. So you got to make some big decisions, especially with your DPs, right? We'll see how Riqui gets back. So man, just a lot in flux with this team right now.
Ananda, go ahead and give us some match stats that will I was gonna say I usually say that will give us some more context on this match, but unfortunately the match stats just don't paint the picture today.
I brought a stat if you guys don't mind. I have a graphic and everything.
Oh,
yeah,
0.0 xg.
The yellow card one.
Yeah, 0.0 xg. That is my match stat.
That is probably the most important one.
And we still lost. So, and that would be the XG of the opposing team. But this is the other thing, guys, which is like, for all of our dominance, for all of our possession, 64-35. I mean, Rob read out all those damning stats. I'm not going to go over those again because they're just damning. But for all that possession that we had, yes, we had 11 shots, but this is the problem. We only forced the keeper to one save. I would argue 2 saves, I think, but they only counted 1. And the one I remember was the John Nelson one in the first half with his right foot, which is arguably that and the JP sort of where he should have made a diving header, but he hit it with his knee out into Rosie. Those are probably our 2 biggest chances of the game, but we only forced 1 or max 2 goalkeeper saves, right? And I think that is probably for me the biggest stat, which is you've got all this dominance, you've got all this possession, but as Greg, and we'll hear some of his thoughts in a little bit, but just that lack of a clinical edge, right? Just, and we can chalk it down to different things, and we'll get to that conversation in a little bit. But Rob, one of the things that I was looking at was like this sort of idea of a lack of a clinical edge, right? You look at the conversion rate this year, man, and we have been absolutely woeful. And this is part of the problem right now with us finishing our chances. It was kind of a problem last year, but the thing is we generated so many clean looks on goal that we scored on just enough of them to win the game, right? To win games, and over time the confidence built up. Whereas this year it's completely the opposite. But this year, Rob, the Galaxy season goal conversion rate is at 6.5%. That's third worst in the league, only behind Austin, who haven't scored much this year. Remember, they only beat us 1-0. That's another game we should have won probably, or at least gotten a point out of. And Montreal is worse. We're third worst in the league in shots on target and 3.2 per match, and we're bottom 5 in big chances. So for all that dominance, like, it's not just this game, but we haven't been good, at least clinical, I would say is the definition of good here in this case, in the final third. And you asked him, Rob, in terms of this 90 minutes now, this last 90 minutes that just passed, you know, because you thought that, yeah, you asked him that question, Rob. So you did learn how to read and write, at least for that you know, that 5-minute
Quick
segment
spill.
there of the presser. You asked him, you know, in terms of what he thought of the overall performance, but specifically if he thought that was the best sort of offensive output and the best in terms of chance creation. And I want you guys to listen to the answer, and then we'll talk a little bit about why you guys think we are struggling to have a clinical edge.
Before you run that clip, though, I
it.
want to counsel it is about chance creation and not about the finishing action.
Correct. But I think it's interesting what he said. So here you go. Here's Greg Vanney, guys.
Yeah, thanks. I actually think this game, and I thought the last game, we were into and failed to connect the final action sometimes. And when I say good spots, means that we're not settling from shots from 18 to 25 yards out. We're not settling for things. I feel like our guys were working to use every last yard of the field to drive the opposition deep, to make them protect the face of the goal. You know, the majority of goals are scored inside the box, and I felt like during large stretches of the season we weren't driving and committing ourselves to get behind the back line and into deep areas. And I feel like the last two games, and really today, I thought we did a great job at that. And now when you get into those spots, it's the connection between the crosser and the finisher. It's creating spaces inside the box that we can use in little windows to finish. It's about, again, good decisions. It's all of those things. And we had lots of opportunity today, and we didn't execute on that. But yes, in terms of chance creation, being in good areas, getting ourselves into dangerous positions, I thought this was certainly one of our best, if not our best games.
So yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. It's just the final product. It's just not there. That's pretty clear, right? But like, what do you think, Dave, and chat too? Like, what is it? Like, why are we struggling to have that clinical edge in the final third? Is it the system? Is it personnel? Is it we're not shooting enough in practice? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think maybe partially the system. Greg said it himself. They're trying to use every inch of the pitch to drive the attack, and when you have a team that's going to sit back, compact in the box, you can use the inch all the way to the end line, which we've seen the Galaxy do already several times. You've seen Joe Painstil, you know, dribble himself out the end line. Same thing with Peck. You know, they should be taking more shots from outside the box. Create some chaos. Like, try something different. Like, that's the thing that's the most frustrating about this, is that it feels like they're very content to have these little stat wins here and there instead of actually doing something to get a result, the way that Kansas City did something to get a result out of a game and their you know, their bad run of form. I mean, I think they're still on a bad run of form, but you know, they got more points.
Yeah. What do you think, Baba?
It's really tough to pinpoint. I mean, Greg's not wrong. I mean, they are creating the chances. But where last year you would see Gabriel Peck bury some of these chances, this year he hasn't. Where last year you would see a little bit more space for the striker. This year you're not. Same with Joseph Painstil. I mean, now he's on 6 games since his return that he hasn't scored. But we've talked about Riqui a lot already today, and it's just evident that he unlocks so many things, and you know, not to harp on that too much, because he's not there and he's not going to be there, and so they have to look for solutions within the group. Why are they not struck? Why are they not finishing? Your guess is as good as mine. They are making the chances. It's just not happening.
Yeah, I'll bring up a couple of things. I think one, it's pretty clear, and I think a lot of people have said this. I think it's just confidence, right? Like especially strikers, attackers, like you got to see the ball ripple the back of the net. And once you see, like, that's why yesterday I actually thought, and I said this to you out loud, Rob. I said, if we score that first goal, I feel like we're going to score in bunches. We have to score that first goal, otherwise it's not happening for us. Like the pressure, the waves of pressure was just, it felt like that, and maybe I was reversing back to the mindset last year, whereas we're knocking on the door, and as soon as we let that first goal, the floodgates open, right? And I thought that's how the game was going to go. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. But here's the other thing, and I don't know if you guys noticed this at all, but my eye test, what's interesting about this year is, for some reason, and like Gabriel Peck is a really good example of this, he was able to create separation between him and his defender last year, and he was able to get a lot of clean looks. Now, part of that is to your point, Rob, which is Riqui would hit these guys on a dime, and all they have to do is just take one or two strides, and they have a clean look on goal. This year, I feel like we are working a lot harder to get cleaner looks, and like for as good as Christian Ramirez has been this year, and by the way, guys, you can't slag him off because he has 4 goals this year. Dejan only has 1 more in 5, right? And 2 of his were penalties. So 4 open play goals. I think that's pretty good. But he doesn't create as much separation as you do with Dejan. He's more of a system. So if the system doesn't work, he becomes quite ineffective because he's a guy that can't chop it on his left foot and hit it back on his right, just like Dejan, right? So he has to work a lot harder for his goals. And again, other than Gabby Peck, there's really we don't have those individual players other than Riqui, right? Who's not with us. Obviously, he's in the bench or he's in the injury table. We don't have enough guys that can create that one-on-one separation. I think that's partly why we're not generating as many clean looks as maybe as we did last year. And yeah, it's just we're having to depend so much on the system that unfortunately right now is a little bit broken.
Pottermus says sometimes teams can get used to losing and can't see a way out. And the homie Editor Nags popping in with the super chat.
Shout out, man.
Reminding everybody that even though there's a lot of losing happening right now, we're in the trenches, lads. At least we're all in it together. Much love, my G's, for sure. Edgar Nags. Truer words were never spoken. En las buenas y en las malas. The community tiene que ser unida. But we spoke about this lineup earlier and how Greg basically set out an attacking lineup. And one of the things that Ananda and I don't know if we would say it's criticized, but have called Greg on is him being kind of risk adverse, and pretty much no matter what, sticking to his system, sticking to his guns. I was very impressed that he went with the dual 10s with Cerrillo there in the middle. He additionally tried to tuck Yamane into midfield to try to get a little bit more verve. As this game progressed, even he tried to get a little bit more offense and out of trying something different by switching Peck and Painstil to their natural sides, so that way they could be more of a direct threat. The only place where I feel like he could have gone maybe a little bit even more attacking was with Julian Aude over John Nelson. But despite Greg Vanney getting his lineup basically right. I mean, again, his team didn't allow a shot on goal. Ananda kind of pushed back on me when I said this earlier to him, but this team is just going through it with some bad luck. Like the La Suerte de Campeón is not with this team. People are going to be like, oh, you know what? It can't be luck. It can't be this. I mean, at this point, it's a combination of everything. It's the perfect storm of everything. And here are my examples, Ananda.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go for it. I think you have a good example that I will agree with you on one thing about the bad luck. Just we're cursed, right?
So here are my examples just in this game alone. The goal comes off an own goal, right? Maya basically doesn't know anything about it. It's just crossed in, he gets wrong-footed, and it goes off of him. Later, he has a chance to basically make amends. He gets a header off of a corner, and this one's going goalward. Only it bounces off of Jansen Miller, but Miller doesn't know a damn thing about it. He's turned around. It just bounces off of him, right? He just gets lucky, basically, and Maya does not. Marco Reus later strikes the crossbar with the free kick. Lay on. And then the biggest one here is another example of just the worst damn luck. JP and Gabriel Peck getting injured within minutes of each other.
That's the one
match.
Yeah,
within minutes of each other. Ananda, go ahead and handle this this super chat.
Super chat from Zippers Forever. Thanks, man, for the super chat. He says Vanney coaches a rigid system is doubling down on possession. Riqui ignored it and could spark creativity because he had Delgado and Brugman. I mean, that's a thing, right? You have your system, but then you have guys that I wouldn't say like break the system because it has a negative connotation to it, but it's more of like they have what's the word I'm looking for?
It's like they're exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, but not only that, like they improvise. That's what I'm trying to say. So they keep the defenders on their toes, right? And you just don't expect a little moment of magic. And that's the thing that added level of improvisation. And honestly, man, watching Pedro Vite this year, Papa, that he has that in his locker this year. I've seen a couple highlights of a couple of his last games. Man, he has a ridiculous left foot, man. A left foot of a wand of a left foot.
Well, unless the Galaxy are getting Vite, again, they got to make
some calls, man. Make some calls.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He hasn't returned any calls. I mean, I think he's kind of ducking me at the moment. No, but I mean, you saw this team. You know, we mentioned that Greg put basically his most attacking lineup out there, and it didn't get the job done. This team is short on confidence. They're not finishing their chances. Is it time for Nasi to get a look? I mean, Galaxy bring him here on loan, but he has gotten no playing time. Dave, at this point, let the young kid play, or let Vanney keep on putting out the lineup, and eventually they're going to win.
Well, I think he's going to run out of players to put out there because if Peck and Painstil are indeed hurt, he can't rely on Marco Reus to give him more minutes than he did in this last game. I think that was probably too uncomfortable for him as it is. So he's going to have to start using those players. He's going to have to start using Harbor Miller again, more Parente, more Lepley. It just that just is what it is. It's raining, it's pouring in Galaxylandia right now.
So
yeah, I mean, Rob, you invest so much in these U22s. I mean, you got. I mean, for me, it's like there's little left to lose at this point. You got to play Nasi and Sanabria as much as possible, and at least give them a shot. Give them a shot. See what they got. Also, don't judge them just after 90 minutes. Like, give them consistent starts, consistent minutes, because there's nothing left to lose at this point, right? And I'm sure you brought Christian Ramirez in, really, honestly, as more of a rotation piece than a true starting number 9 that's going to play 90 minutes, 80, 90 every game. So I don't think he's going to be insulted by it. I mean, you're investing a lot in these U22s. Those are very valuable spots in MLS. Greg should use them, man. There's nothing left to lose. Give these kids a shot.
I know when they brought in Julian Alde, he was frustrating that first year. I know a lot of people didn't like his game too much and felt like he was too much of a liability on the field. I feel like it was the same for the first probably 10 games for Gabriel Peck. When he first came in, people were very upset and felt like he might be a flop because it took him a minute. But those are two guys that came in on good teams, on a team that were good. This is a team, with Nascimiento and with Sanabria. With Sanabria, man, I really hope that we haven't seen all he has to offer, because I really do feel like he might be out of his depth a little bit. And with Nascimento, it seems like he's just not acclimated to playing in a league like MLS.
So all that to say, who's to blame? Ananda. You had a spicy tweet to go along with this one. Our friend Lex from LA Galaxy 310 says SKC with the worst defense in the league going into the game. LA Galaxy failed to score. SKC with 0 shots makes league history by becoming the first MLS team ever to win a game without a shot. Genuine question: who is to blame? So, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and point fingers. I mean, it's again for me, it's an amalgamation of everything that's happened this year, the bad luck, the injuries, the players departing, players incoming that haven't settled, players incoming that have perhaps settled but have not given as much as was expected. Again, I mean, this is kind of like the question: why aren't they finishing their chances? I mean, there's not just one person to blame, I don't think, right, guys? I mean, Dave, what's your feeling on this one?
I wish I could point the finger at someone or something. I really can't. There's a lot to go around. It's the mechanisms of MLS, but Will Kuntz and the front office knew exactly what was going to happen in this offseason. With Greg Vanney, you would think that a guy that just won MLS Cup and is known for tinkering in his lineups would do better to tinker and to make something work. I don't know. Do you blame the success? Do you blame the fact that we lifted the cup? I know I wouldn't trade it for a single thing.
Same.
So it's tough, but a lot of MLS teams have gone through similar situations where they've lost key players, they've had key injuries, they've had a run of bad luck. I know Chicago I think it was 2 years ago, they just seem to constantly be shooting themselves in the foot. And it seems like the Galaxy have that, whatever that is this year. We might just have to, we as fans might have to just kind of suffer through it. I'm getting real close to calling it for 2025. But as far as the blame goes, there's no one thing. It's the universe.
Yeah.
Maybe whatever seance or whatever they did to get the cup last year, this is the payback for that.
Yeah, someone has the voodoo doll on us for sure. But even your point about the other teams part, Dave, you don't have to look far. Vancouver has been without arguably their best player all year, and they're number 1 in the league. So, Ryan Gauld's been on that bench this whole year, and he's arguably their best player, but they are absolutely balling. So, again, this is
scary, huh? They're going to get even better.
Jesus. This is a tough one. This is a damning one. But I responded to this with shout out Lex, by the way, because he always puts out those good thought starters, and of course, like a little bants, a little fun stuff as well. So shout out Lex, man. But I think this is a shared one, Rob. But look, I've got to put. You can't say one or the other though. I think it's a shared blame. I said that arguably you'd probably put more blame on the players because, Greg sets out these lineups and the guys are there. He puts them in positions to succeed and he puts out his best 11 as much as he can. Of course, dealing with the departures, the injuries, etc. But
like Sophie says, the players cross the white line.
Yeah, the players cross. Well, that's a shout out. R.I.P. Kevin Campbell. That's what he always says on her podcast. And I agree with him because Greg can only do so much, but he can't put the ball in the back of the net. He can't, make sloppy mistakes in the final third and give, tap-ins to the other team. He doesn't make goalkeeping mistakes either. Now, speaking of goalkeeping, though, that is the one thing I am going to put a little bit of blame to Greg on. This is the point I thought very aptly and very astutely that Michele Giannone said in your interview, which is, I think he didn't need to create that goalkeeper chaos that he did in the beginning of the season. I think especially goalkeepers, Michele made this great point, which is goalkeepers. We talked about confidence earlier with strikers, but even more so with goalkeepers, that's a very finicky position. So the fact that he wasn't as, what's the word? He wasn't as direct or confident or just like assured with his decision in the beginning, and he kept flip-flopping. I think that created a lot of uncertainty, especially with a young goalkeeper like Mitrovic. And of course McCarthy, like, yes, he's a veteran keeper, but it's hard for a keeper to, accept that kind of, hey, I won MLS Cup, but by the way, you're going to be second fiddle next year. So I think that is one of the things I will put on Greg. But it's definitely shared responsibility, man. And like I said, good debate to have amongst us Galaxy fans.
Alex Gutierrez with the super chat, hitting us up with the LA Sports got us even more sad. A llorar juntos.
Yeah, ves.
Damn true. Lakers out. I know we have a couple of the Nag boys in here. I know them's our Clippers fans. They out. I mean, it's sad times, man. You know what, man? It's kind of inexplicable, like we've been saying, how even when the Galaxy do things right, they still find a way to lose. I mean, it's just, and this is what I'm talking about with the whole luck thing earlier. It's just things like that. You should, in a perfect world, they should have been rewarded for their good performance and a good defensive work by getting something, at least a point out of that game. Like the offensive side, I think that's on them, right? They're just not finishing. But on the defensive side, they played a really good match. They didn't allow SKC to take a shot on goal, and they still lost. Just the damnedest thing. Anyway, so you were saying, it's these players. However, there's an opposing viewpoint. Carlos at Osafresh 138 says, insisting your system works and isn't the problem to having 0 wins through 1/3 of the season is exactly why it's time for #Vanney out. It's not me. The players didn't execute, he says in quotes. This is in response to a question that El Profe Alex Ruiz had about, if maybe the system was the one to blame. Oh, I'm sorry. No, can you bring that one back? The quote from Greg is, we dominated this game in every single way and we didn't execute and we gave up an own goal. So to me, today isn't about any of those things. We did different variations of movements inside of the game. So that's just an opposing viewpoint there. So Dave, for you, with this whole debate on whether it's players or whether it's Vanney, does it even matter at this point? Like, who's to blame? Is it just like it's so far gone at this point? It's like, just look for solutions.
If I can offer anything in for my opinion for this podcast, is I'm just going to bring the cliche sayings. It's, what's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's the same thing with Guillermo Barros-Schelotto, and he was just like, oh, we need more crosses. Let's do more.
I remember those days.
They're doing 700 crosses in the game, and he's like, oh, we need more crosses. It's frustrating to see. That's one of the things that I really, really want to put a pin on, is that, or not a pin, I guess, shine a spotlight on, is, yes, Greg Vanney needs to do something. He needs to, give them an ugly, give them a park the bus style, gritty, grind it out 1-0 match, get a garbage goal and defend it and get some points. Like, that is ultimately like what this team needs right now. I don't know if he's willing to do that. He seems very stubborn in his approach to things. So
we say risk adverse.
I don't know if it's time for Vanney out, but I do think that that quote that he had a few weeks ago about the referees looking in the mirror at themselves, I'm like, are there no mirrors in the Galaxy's locker room? There's got to be, because those guys and Greg himself have to be looking at themselves.
No, he did.
Got to do better.
I don't know if you read, maybe you didn't read the full quote. He started by talking about the referees, but then he said, ourselves, like we are able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say it's not good enough. So he did make sure to include the Galaxy in that one. So I'll defend Diogo Gregorio on that one a little bit. Zippers Forever says with the super chat, gracias for that super chat. 3 forwards plus 2 10s is silly for a team that relies on speed from Peck and Painstil breaking out. It is the coach and the training staff, and it has been. Well, we know who Zippers Forever is placing the blame at their feet for this current Galaxy situation. As much as we can, guys, we try to finish this podcast off on a positive note. Exactly, right? You're like, people are out there like, dang, these guys have just like doo-dooed all over this team for like an hour and a half. But let's end positive. Yes, well, we're going to try. We always pick a defending the badge winner, Dave, and this time, since you're a special guest, we didn't have a vote, but we are allowing you to pick your defending the badge winner. And defending the badge isn't necessarily the one who played the best. It is the one who stood up for the colors the most, maybe hustled the most, showed the most heart for the badge.
That's so tough to call right now, because a lot of especially the 4 that you just had up on the screen, I wouldn't pick any of those guys. I honestly think that for this specific game, the only person or the only player that I wasn't just pulling my hair out from, you can see it's mostly gone now.
Look what they've done to you.
Yeah, exactly.
It was for John McCarthy. I think that he didn't have much to do, but I do think that him barking at the back line to and trying to kind of pick things up after their own goal is probably the closest thing to I can find to a positive after this match.
Yeah, well, I liked me some Mickey. Unfortunately, the Galaxy just didn't really have too much to be happy about or be enthused about. Ananda, did you have a special shout out here for defending the badge?
I actually like that one from Dave, because I don't know if you guys noticed this. As soon as Maya was on his knees, man, after that, after he let in that own goal, he was just so distraught. And Maya you could tell, like, those guys, they take it really, really personally, especially him as veteran. I don't know if you guys caught this, but J-Mac just literally just like took him, picked him up, and said, "Hey, let's just keep." I don't know what he said exactly, but something along the lines of "Let's just keep going." Tapped him on the backside and said, "Let's keep going." So I think J-Mac's always shown a propensity to do that, and especially in those post-match pressers, Rob, with you guys. I mean, he's always very direct and honest. He kind of like wears his heart on his sleeve for the most part, but he doesn't sugarcoat anything, right? And I think we need a little bit of that reality check, especially we talked about earlier, those voices in the locker room. I'm hoping he is one of them, because I feel like he does have a presence in that locker room, and which is why, like I said, man, that goalkeeping debacle in the beginning of the season, I think that really set us back more than we think.
Well, this loss sets the Galaxy even further back in their quest to return to the playoffs first and then retain their title second. After 11 matches, they hold a 0-8-3 record. They are on 3 points, 0.27 points per game, negative 13 goal differential, 15th in last place. Still the only team yet to win a game in the Western Conference. One of 2 teams not to win a game in the entire league. Dead last in the league, and tied for worst start in league history by a defending champion. Ooh, it feels so good, don't it? Ananda, I'm gonna spare you from the power rankings. Today, I mean, we've already been
29th, 30th. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just generally, let's look ahead to May.
Ooh, well, it's not looking good, is it, Rob? Like, so you look at that schedule, right? Well. And we posed this, coming into it. And I even tweeted about this, and you look at this month of May and it's daunting again, guys. Just to repeat it, we're on a 3-game road trip right now. We have an MLS Cup rematch against New York Red Bull. That's this Saturday at 4:30 p.m., 7:30 local time. Then you travel up to down to Philadelphia, which they're a very good team. They're a top 4 team this year. And of course, off the back of that, 4 days later, again, you're on the road and then you have to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast to play a game 4 days later against your crosstown rivals in El Tráfico, which is, we may be at that point, guys, where we go into that game winless and that game becomes like the ultimatum game, the make or break, man, what a narrative that would be. And then just the week after, we go down to San Diego for another Clásico, San Jose at home for another Clásico, and then we finish it off with Salt Lake. And so you look at that schedule and you say, guys, to save the season, like, how many points did we need right in the month of May? Well, we already have 0 out of 3, so that's a good start. But I posted a little poll. Most people are saying, anywhere between 12 to 14. That's about 4 wins and some change, maybe. Because look, how many points are we out of a playoff spot now, Rob? I think we are 10. I could be wrong about that. But we've got to make up some points, and I think, unfortunately, I'm going to make this claim right now. I think May is going to seal or decide our fate, I think, for the playoffs, because I think we've dug ourselves I think Sophie said in the press conference, a Grand Canyon size hole. That's what we're in right now, man. It's
Mariana Trench.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Mariana's Trench. For all you science buffs out there,
wow,
in the chat,
four wins out of a playoff spot, 12 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, 12 points. 4 wins.
Play in as well.
12 points plus other teams. A bunch of other teams above us have to get 0 points. How many points do we need in May? I think we needed all 21 points to really catapult themselves back up there.
Well, like you said, you're getting ready to call it. And realistically, if the Galaxy can't put it together here in May, it might be mathematically possible to call time on the season already. In which case, like Ananda says, those decisions become that much more important.
Exactly. Decisions on Greg, decisions on player personnel. What do you do with the DPs? Who's out of contract this year? There's so many. Do we shut down Riqui? Do we say, hey man, it's not even worth it? Bro, there's a lot of implications.
Take the year and get healthy. We're not making the playoffs,
Try to win Leagues Cup. I don't know. What do you do? Yeah, try to win Leagues Cup.
No,
exactly. If they shut down Riqui, and to be honest with you, I think that they probably should have made that decision already, is whether or not they're going to shut him down. Because if they shut him down, they get the cap relief back, right? They get the DP spot,
and they get to sign someone.
Yeah, and they get to sign someone. So to save the season, I think they really do have to take a long, hard look. Now, with that being said, it's going to be tough for you to take a guy like Riqui Pugin, and who's already, I feel like, having a hard time not being out on the field. This is the first time he's had a big injury like this in his career. I think he's going to need that last 8 games or so to really kind of feel himself out. And it really is if they keep going this way, it's such a low stakes thing to put him back out on the field and say, give it as best you can. Don't get hurt. And ramp that up into the following season, into 2026, which I think is his contract year, right? Rob, is 2026 his contract year?
I thought it was 27 because he signed the extension.
Okay, well, good. I think realistically they probably would want to sell him at the end of the year. Yeah. But
I'm still convinced we're living in a world where rolled on and changed our timeline. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I agree, Ananda. 12 to 14 points is what this team needs. Dave thinks they need all 21. All 21 would have been grand. that match against Real Salt Lake on 5/31 at home for the Galaxy will be the 17th match of the season. So that'll be exactly the midway point. It is conceivable that this Galaxy team goes into that match still winless. I mean, this schedule is not kind. New York, Philadelphia, then a rival match, then a rival match, then a rival match, then I guess Real Salt Lake is probably the game on this schedule that is most kind on its face value, but still, you're going into that match potentially still winless. Not a good time to be a Galaxy fan. Let's go ahead and again try to finish up on a positive note. We'll go ahead and give you guys some quick announcements and then we'll get out of here. Happy 50th birthday to David Beckham. The former G was the first to get a statue, and even though people say that he was not deserving to be the first one, this man literally changed the course of the league and Galaxy history by coming to play for the Galaxy. He played for the G's 98 times, and he won 2 MLS Cups in 2011 and 2012, and 2 Supporter Shields 2010 and 2011. I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse at this point, but the Galaxy and Fox 11 have entered into an agreement to air LA Galaxy match replays on Friday evenings at 5:30. So since these matches are on Apple TV, now you can catch a replay of the loss on Fox 11 at 5:30 p.m. The collaboration between Fox 11 and the Galaxy is aimed at increasing accessibility for fans and families across Southern California. And the first match that was shown was the was on Friday, May 2nd, with the Galaxy's loss against Portland Timbers. And we already told you about it. The Tráfico is looming large here on Sunday, May 18th. That'll be at the Digs. And then on May 31st, against RSO, which we already let you know is the 17th match of the season. It is Star Wars night. You get a chance to get a JP bobblehead. He might be injured and he might not be there, but you can get a bobblehead and almost as good. And honestly, I kind of want this bobblehead. So, gentlemen, that's pretty much where we're at. Dave, I wish we could have had you on in 2024 where the Galaxy were just doing beautiful, impeccable things. But still, I really enjoyed our time with you. Open invitation for you to come back whenever you'd like. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Man, I cannot say thank you guys enough. I love your guys' show. I do listen fairly regularly, so I'm excited to be on this side with you guys. So I really, really appreciate it. You guys are doing big things, far more quality than LA is our house. But if you want to listen to 3 dummies talk about this stuff in a more spicy environment, LA is our house. Come check us out.
Y'all heard him. Y'all heard him.
Much better than this show, guys. Come on, give him some love.
Hey, definitely we're gonna have to go hit up some of those wings soon.
Yes, sir.
Ananda, anything else to add before we get out of here?
I'm just trying to I think chat, you guys have put all your thoughts and comments and what did I put in my tweet? Like lament, repent, or something like that. Like you guys did all of that and more. So thank you guys for joining us. But now I just want to leave with this, man. I just want to leave it on a positive note, like Rob said, because right now this is like, what do you always say, Rob? Self-deprecation is always our thing, right? It's like we got to laugh about this, right? We just got to kid about this. But no, I think it's very similar to 2023, which is, yes, the team's doing bad. Yes, we're watching not the greatest product in the pitch. It's frustrating. We're shouting at our TV screens, or when we're in the stadium, we're shouting because we're frustrated. But at the end of the day, man, it really is all about this G community. And, we have things like we laugh and joke about it, that these are group therapy sessions and these are sad flu hours. But at the end of the day, it's like those connections that we've made throughout the years, right? Like even like hanging out with Dave and his family at the tailgates and like those little moments or connections. I think that's what keeps us going as Galaxy fans. And, en las buenas and en las malas, like we always say, like Arquitekto says, right, in the intro, that's what we gotta rely on, man. Is it's just the strength of this community. We'll get through this together. Like Pottermus says, hopefully there is light at the end of this tunnel. I think there's a lot of work for this team to do, but in the meantime, look, all I'll say is this: how good did last year feel, guys, through all of our struggles and all the things that we've been through? So I feel like maybe we're cursed, but I feel like we have to go through these like super struggles so that when the good times come, they become that much sweeter. And that's all I'll say.
Well, next on La Cuna Galaxiana on Wednesday, May 7th, we'll bring you our Galaxy versus New York Red Bull preview pod. Reminder, guys, we won't be with you on Thursday night. We'll be with you this week on Wednesday night, May 7th, for that New York Red Bull preview pod. We do have a special guest for that one as well. So go ahead and tune in. A week from today on Monday, May 12th, we'll bring you our Galaxy versus Red Bull reaction / Philadelphia Union preview for the midweek match happening on Wednesday, May 14th. That pretty much brings us to the end, guys. You know what? En las buenas y en las malas is absolutely right. There's really nothing else to say other than, keep your head up. Y'all are champions out there. And no one's going to be able to take that away from you for at least the rest of the year. And and you know what? It's crazy, because Galaxy win a title in 2024. They're historically bad in 2025. But the whole story hasn't been written yet. It can either get even uglier and can get into comically bad, or this team is setting up a damn crazy redemption arc for the second half of the season. Who knows which way it's going to turn? Only way to find out is for you guys to go ahead and hit up this pod, hit up Eleazar House. We'll go ahead and let you guys know what's happening at LA Galaxylandia. Until we meet again, guys, one thing left to say: LA strong, vamos campeones, and G's up.
Wow.